As you heard from our Nicole Ford, who was out there reporting, she actually heard some of these shots taking place and said that she talked to a witness who said that they thought they heard up to 100 shots. We do not know of any injuries at this point, but that entire area is locked down. A huge police presence out there. They're asking everybody to avoid that area, stay inside your home. A very busy area, obviously, with the hospital so close by. We're working to reach out to them to find out if they're taking any safety precautions. And we also know that there's an elementary school just a few blocks away. We're also reaching out to the school district to find out what actions they're taking. And we have heard those gunshots in some of our live reports. We actually have a piece of video here where we can listen in and hear some of those gunshots taking place. Now have that soundbite pulled up. That father you talked to who said he was on the phone with his daughter who's in the house right nearby. Let's listen in on that soundbite.
Here's the gunshot, look. You okay, baby?
An emotional interview there with Leslie, who said she was holed up in the basement. She said her house was hit with gunfire as this was happening, as this began about an hour and a half ago now. She's been holed up in that house this entire time. Police finally able to get her out of there. They've been telling everybody in that neighborhood to shelter in place. They want to help people evacuate, so they're telling people to call 911, and they will come to your door and safely get you out. It's an armored vehicle, basically, that state police and SWAT will use in a situation like this that can safely allow their teams to get up close. It is fully armored with bulletproof glass. It has portals for their weapons to be shot through, but they use that in a situation where they feel there's pressure to get inside a home. At this point, we don't have any reports of anyone else inside the home or that there's anybody threatened inside the home. So what's been happening is these SWAT teams have been working with hostage negotiators to try to reach that person inside.
That's ROCCO.
We've been listening in to State Police giving us an update there. State Police on scene and now calling in state troopers from all over the area to converge on the scene. And truly a terrifying situation where we're listening to that live interview and you're hearing the gunfire go off in the background continuing on. So initially we heard about 4 or 5 minutes ago, Gabriella DeLuca telling us the gunfire had began, and then the state trooper telling us there have been 30 to 40 shots at that point, but then there were probably another 20 to 30 shots even as he was speaking. So a barrage of bullets. He's not saying exactly where those are coming from, but he believes since they put another drone in the air, that barricaded gunman may be trying to shoot another one of the drones down.
Because he was unpredictable.
All right, listening to that witness there describe the person who is believed to be the barricaded gunman, somebody who witnesses and neighbors have told us was a squatter that broke into the home, they believe, back in March, was not supposed to be there. Sheriff's deputies arrived this morning working to execute that eviction notice, and they apparently got out there a little after 10 o'clock this morning, and she had said in that interview there that she knew it was going to happen about 10:30 this morning, and because they had such bad concerns about this person's temperament, they made sure they did not want to be at the area at this time. And now we're seeing that doorbell video that shows police took this very seriously and had an indication that this person could be dangerous because they already had a SWAT vehicle on scene, on standby. Immediately, well, let's see, it was, just minutes after the shots were fired. So the SWAT vehicle showed up at 11:04 this morning, and our Rick Earl is telling us that the shots may have begun firing at about 10:50 this morning. So we're coming up on almost 3 hours from when those shots originally began.
You safe.
And with Leslie there, and you can hear how emotional she is, just how traumatic this was, living through this, hiding inside her own home, unsure if she was going to be able to get out safely, knowing that her home was being hit over and over with a barrage of bullets, even hearing those gunshots taking place as we're listening to that interview. And that was the same case when we heard from the state trooper about 15 minutes ago, just a barrage of gunfire. We don't know if that's all coming from the gunman inside the home or if this is a gunfight that's taking place between law enforcement and the person inside the home. We do know that they had 2 state police vehicles out there. As we're looking up, I'm guessing we're going to see probably, yep, there's the drone up there. So this is a drone they put in the air. That suspect has shot 2 of the drones down. They have gotten others up into the sky. They've also got some of those heavily armored vehicles that we no longer see out in that street. So that could mean that they're down in front of the home now. That would certainly allow law enforcement to get much closer closer to the suspect because those things are so heavily armored. We're working to get brand new information on the person believed to be inside that home. Rick Earl, you're telling us this is a 63-year-old man, William Hardison, and you have new information on his background.
Yeah, that's right.
Channel 11 News.
We are breaking into programming right now with major breaking news. The jury has reached a sentencing verdict in the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting trial. He killed 11 people at the Tree of Life Synagogue in Squirrel Hill on October 27, 2018. The years that followed have been an emotional and traumatic fight for justice for the survivors of the attack and the families of the victims. Again, those are live pictures right now just outside of the courthouse there on Grant Street. You can see some of the news crews assembling there as they prepare for people to come outside and some new information to come out. We expect the sentencing information to come out within the next 20 to 25 minutes. That's about what has been the process with the previous two parts of this case earlier on. They would give us a notification that a verdict had been reached, that it takes about 30 minutes to get everybody back into the courtroom, and that's when they will then let us know what their decision is, whether it is life in prison or the death sentence. Joining us right now on the phone is Dan Mead. He was a police officer. He and his partner were first on the scene at the synagogue shooting nearly 5 years ago, credited with containing Robert Bowers in the building. Dan was shot in the hand. He testified during this trial. We have not received any notification that they asked any questions this morning. Right now, getting information that the judge is thanking the jury and asking the public to remain composed when the verdict is read. So again, this information is coming in right now, and we are giving that to you. So as soon as we get that verdict and the decision by the jury, we will bring that to you live. And David, yeah, we know that a majority of the families who lost loved ones said that they believed Bowers deserves the death penalty. That was the majority of families that we heard from. Two of the congregations, New Light Congregation, Tree of Life, they did not take an official stance, but Dor Hadash, they actually sent a letter to the U.S. Attorney General back in 2019 requesting a life sentence. So a lot of different opinions here, obviously. And just to kind of reset here, if you're just joining us, the information we have now is that the jury has reached a decision. What they're doing right now is they're going through this entire form. They have 9 mitigating factors, 115, I'm sorry, 9 aggravating factors, 115 mitigating factors. So they have to go through every single one of these and talk about how many agree or disagree with each of these factors. They go through this entire list before they come to that final page and they announce their decision about whether they are sentencing Robert Bowers to life in prison or the death sentence. So they deliberated for less than 3 hours this morning. They started at 8:30. We got the announcement they had a verdict at 11:18. They deliberated for 7 hours yesterday. They asked 2 questions. So it's a total of less than 10 hours of deliberations. The questions yesterday they asked involved first, the weapons that Robert Bowers used. So they had questions about the AR-15 and the 3 Glocks. They wanted to see those weapons. They did that. They looked them over. They even asked some questions of the U.S. Marshal. That caused Bowers' defense attorney to argue there should be a mistrial, but the judge said no to that. He denied that. The second question came out later in the afternoon, and that's when they were kind of going through this form, and you could tell what some of the questions were, because what they wanted was evidence from the exhibit talking about the family neurological mental health history. That was one of those mitigating factors the defense had put forward, trying to show that there are reasons or mental health reasons they say that help to understand why Robert Bowers did such a horrific thing. Okay, I just want to let you know the information we're getting from our reporter inside the courtroom is that the jury has unanimously voted for death separately. We are waiting for that information. We're waiting for a final determination. Death, yes. We have a confirmation that they have signed off on the death penalty for Robert Bowers.
All counts or separately, we don't know.
We don't know if it's all counts. Or if it's separate. But at this point, we can say they have voted for the death penalty. For whether it's one of the counts or all of the counts, they have voted for the death penalty. They have decided and sentenced Robert Bowers to death for the Pittsburgh synagogue shooting. And Rick, you kind of reminded me there, he does have to still be formally sentenced by the judge, and the judge had said that they were going to try to have that take place probably the following morning once the final decision came out. Is there going to be another opportunity for any of the survivors or the victims' families to speak at that point, or is that simply the judge officially, formally passing down that sentence?
The smoke was so thick, a burning house was hard to see earlier today in Pittsburgh's Allentown neighborhood. But that didn't stop 3 Good Samaritans from busting down the door and rescuing the woman who was inside. Channel 11's Talia Kirkland was the only reporter to hear the incredible story directly from those heroes.
The city of Pittsburgh has released the results of an investigation following the horrific electrocution of a beloved pet on a public sidewalk earlier this year in Squirrel Hill. As we reported, the city hired an independent investigator to look at what exactly caused a metal plate to become electrified, killing a dog named Nikki on the Murray Avenue Bridge during a walk with its owner. Neighbors in Westmoreland County continue to help the survivors of last week's horrific fire in Jeanette. A memorial and fundraiser is being held tonight to honor Tyler King and his 4 children, Kyson, Kinsley, Keegan, and Corbin, who died in Wednesday's fire. Their mother, Miranda, and their 10- and 1-year-old son survived. Today at the American Legion in Jeanette, there will be a memorial service starting at 6 p.m. There will be food and drinks and a band, and all the proceeds will go to Miranda and her children. Beautiful start to the week, sunny skies and 60s, and you can see people were out enjoying it today, like here at this golf course in Moon Township. But enjoy it while you can. Meteorologist Stephanie Allison is live tracking the next round of wet weather, and it's already on the way, Stephanie. Channel 11 is your election headquarters, and we have to tell you about a major change for voters with less than a month to the primary election. Channel 11's Lori Hoy explains the conflict that's causing polling places to move. Kennywood is getting some national recognition again after being nominated for 2 of USA Today's Reader's Choice Awards. Not only is Kennywood up for Best Amusement Park in the 10 Best poll, but the Phantom's Revenge roller coaster has also been nominated as the best coaster in the country. Surprising new numbers show home sales are surging. High mortgage rates had slowed the market to a crawl. So what's behind this new real estate comeback? David Noriega reports. We want to reemphasize that the information we are getting right now is that these reports of a threat and a shooting threat are a hoax. Central Catholic High School in Oakland is locked down right now. We also understand the University of Pittsburgh is locked down, obviously close proximity. A lot of police are on the scene out at that location. That is obviously 5th Avenue, as you can see on that map there, in the Oakland area. These reports started coming in about 45 minutes ago. Yeah, we all know somebody, a parent or a student there at that school, so we've been getting phone calls and texts and emails from people trying to make sure everything is okay. Want to also pass along, state troopers put out this message about an hour ago saying that they are responding to active shooter threats at a number of local schools. That included Central Catholic, and they said that those were called in by telephone and that they are treating each incident with standard law enforcement protocols. However, those calls are believed to be computer-generated swatting calls, and these hoax swatting calls where they try to get a huge response.
Yeah, and they were...
And obviously this is a very stressful time with the school shooting just yesterday. As we take a live look at pictures here, this appears to be some students, police escorting some of the students and parents outside of the building right now. But again, that shooting just this week in Nashville with 6 dead, that happened at an elementary school, at Covenant School, which was a private elementary school, a religious school. So that lends more credence to this threat at Central Catholic, which caused us to be more concerned, obviously, in the wake of that shooting down in Nashville. As you see, more police officers out here with their rifles escorting some of the students, and police obviously have to respond to these threats and take the proper protocol. They have to get out there in full force because they don't know what they are dealing with, and that is exactly what we are seeing out in Oakland right now. We're hearing, again, that students initially locked down. The kids were hiding under their desks. All right, I'm getting some new information here. This is from the Director of Communications for Allegheny County. The message that she is putting out right now is that County 911 received 3 separate calls reporting an active shooter in 3 separate schools. So that's just Allegheny County 911. We're also aware of similar reports coming in for schools outside of the county. In each instance, law enforcement is responding, but believes these are false reports. Thus far, there's been no active shooter found and no injuries at any school. Law enforcement will continue to thoroughly check out any reports. So she's hearing from police and law enforcement down in Uniontown, Fayette County. We're also getting an update from state police out of Butler, Troop D. They put out a statement saying that these reports actually started coming in as early as 8 o'clock this morning. A series of swatting calls received involving several schools in different counties within the Commonwealth involving threats of an active shooter or a bomb threat. So it may not have just been an active shooter, may have been several different kinds of threats, may have been various people calling. We don't know at this point, but they said all the calls received by Troop D have been investigated and they found to have no merit.